Hi, my name's Amy King and I'm a speech language pathologist. Over the next couple of months, our blog is going to focus on articulation, which is speech sound development. This month we're going to be focusing on the early developing sounds, and next month we're going to focus more on the middle and later developing sounds. Make sure after the video that you look below, as we've provided some links and some resources with additional information and home practice on the sounds that we're going to be talking about today. When we talk about speech sound development, children start acquiring sounds and learning sounds very young as babies. They begin cooing and babbling sounds very young, and their speech sound development goes all the way up through middle elementary school. So the sounds that we're going to talk about today, the early developing sounds are P as in pot, B as in bear, M as in mom, D as in dad, N as in no, H as in hot, and W as in water. The first three sounds we're going to go through are P, B, and M, and these are sister sounds, and we call them sister sounds because P, B, and M are all made the same way with our mouths. For the sounds P, P, B, B, and M, both of our lips come together, and so the fancy term for these sounds is called bilabials because both of your lips come together. If you're trying to work on these sounds with your child, the first thing you just want to start doing is just getting in front of them, being silly and dramatic, modeling the sounds for them with your lips coming together. Many kids will catch on and be able to do that. If they're still having trouble, you might want to bring out a mirror. Let them look at you in the mirror, have them look at themselves in the mirror, and hopefully they'll be able to get those sounds coming together. If they're still having trouble, they may need a little tactile or hand-over-hand cueing, and you just simply want to take your fingers and put them on their face and just help them, bring their lips together. So those are some strategies to get their lips together. For P and B, some fun activities to do: get a tissue or a feather, put it in front of their face, and practice those pop-in sounds. For P, see if you can get the feather to move or the tissue to move. Same thing with B, B. See if they can get the tissue to move. So those are some fun things to do for P and B. M is a little bit different. Your lips come together, but the sound comes out your nose. So for that sound, a fun thing to do with little kids is just to practice humming some nursery rhymes. So Twinkle Twinkle, Old MacDonald, just humming the sound. And when you hum, you're practicing the M sound. So it's a fun activity for them, and it practices M. All right, that's P, B, and M. So let's move into D and N. D and N are also sister sounds, but they're in a different family. For these two sounds, your tongue tip, which is the end of your tongue, goes up on the roof, on the ridge, on the roof of your mouth, right behind your top front teeth. And so for D, that tongue tip goes up, and then the tongue is released, and the air rushes out, and that's what produces the D sound. N is produced the same way, tongue tip up, except the tongue tip stays there, and the sound comes out your nose. So again, they're made in the same place. For D, some activities for D are kind of like P and B, a tissue, a feather. Just practice, blowing that tissue, blowing that feather, see if they can pop the sound out. If they're having trouble getting their tongue tip up, if you're modeling it for them and they're not catching on, if they're not able to do it once they look in the mirror, you might want to get your finger in there or a toothbrush and just tickle that ridge up high behind their two front teeth to just help them feel where that ridge is. Another fun activity, if they're having trouble getting their tongue up, put a little peanut butter or yogurt, cream cheese, Nutella on that ridge right behind their teeth, and tell them with their tongue to go get it. And that's just something fun that they can do, find that ridge up there. Make sure you look below. We've attached some links that have some more ideas for D and N, and then some words to practice as well. And the last two early developing sounds that we're going to talk about today are H and W. With regards to H, very few kids have difficulty with H. It's kind of one of those naturally developing sounds. It's really the breathing sound. And so if you're watching this video, then you're breathing it, and so that's just a natural sound that kids make. If kids are having trouble with H, generally there may be some type of hearing impairment or velopharyngeal incompetence, such as a cleft palate. So if you have a young child and they're having difficulty with H, we would recommend that you maybe schedule an appointment with an ENT. just have them take a look at the ears, the nose, and the throat. But for H, you can practice being a panting dog. Dogs, they come in, they run, and they're panting. Practice that H. Again, go into the tissue or the feather or even a lit candle and practice breathing so they can see the flame moving. Of course, not too close. But that's some good activities for H. And then the last sound in our early developing blog is W. And for W, if you're modeling it for them and they're not getting it and they're looking in the mirror and not getting it, a good way to explain it is that it's the kissing sound. And not because it sounds like a kiss, but because it looks like a kiss. When we make the W sound, our lips look like we're going to give the kiss. So you can practice kissing mommy, kissing daddy, kissing things in the room, kissing the mirror so that they can see what their lips need to look like, and then practicing the sound afterwards. So those are just some strategies to find ways to teach your child how to make the sounds. Again, we have linked some great resources that we found that teach you a little more about the sounds and give you some home practice. Just keep in mind as you're teaching these sounds, the speech hierarchy is start with the sound in isolation. Then you're going to add it a syllable, so a sound plus a vowel. Then as they get that, you're going to move to words. 2 to 3 word phrases, and then just simple sentences. So keep that hierarchy in mind. Here at Child Language and Developmental Speech, we are available to screen, evaluate, and treat your child in our clinic here, in the home, or the school.